Alright, my good buddy Raquel, publicist for many artists, occasionally reaches out and she's like, Spew, these are a few of my current clients, let me know what you think. So we're gonna combine forces on this one, and I'm gonna drill down on 2 of hers and 1 of mine, or actually 2, because really it's 2 separate bands, but here's a really important lead-in for mine that truly puts the magic of heavy metal on display. A few weeks ago I talked about the first black metal band I'd ever heard, Ancient, and what an impact they left. For the hell of it, I tagged the singer at the time, Valerio, aka Lord Kaiaphas, in the Instagram post. To my absolute amazement, he reached out to me to thank me for the coverage. Listen man, yes, I've said this before, but again, I'll underscore. I know in this internet age, the barrier between the artist and the fan has come down significantly, but that does not change the fact that, at least to me in my life, these people are still larger than life. It blows my friggin' mind that years later, I've gotten to connect and have a friendly relationship with somebody in a band responsible for such an unforgettable memory. Because in a million years would I have ever thought, as a virtual nobody online, that I'd be favored or entrusted to review somebody's art that comes from an individual who clearly loves in a very endearing way their creative process. So I think that is a testament to the coolness, and the warmth, and the kindness of, in this case, Mr. Valerio Costa. Vocals for, and here's the first band, originating in Rio de Janeiro, CHANT NOIR. 2 full lengths, both of which, and all the song names are in French, and although I have no knowledge of correct pronunciation, I'll still attempt to do justice. 2017's Ars Arcanvm Vodvm, actually that sounds sort of Latin, and 21's La Société des Poètes, Morts. Both are very similar musically, but I'll focus on the more recent Society album, we'll call it. However, again, neither are very different from one another. There is no question or surprise that the Lord Kaiaphas and Zell from Ancient, that family bloodline and influence and friendship is very present in Le Chant Noir. For example, the first proper song, Le Vampire, reminds me of something that could have easily been on Mad Grandiose, and honestly even Halls of Eternity after it. This is very quickly likable black metal that is not challenging or overly complex. Imagine slightly more riff-accessible arrangements that anybody who's a fan of early Cradle of Filth would love. Or to diversify a little, a more daring Maiden or Grim Reaper worshiper who's not afraid to cross over into the extreme. And possibly to their delight, in addition to the most important factor, really good songs, the production is beautiful and it's warm, and some might honestly admire about these dudes. They do not overdo it with layering the guitar tracks, so the result means it's very easy to identify the melodies as opposed to being kind of buried under something grindy or crusty. Like proof of this is when you hear a guitar on its own before the other stuff kicks in. Le Vampire and Nuit de l'Enfer are fine examples, because generally speaking, when the blasts start and the bass and the second guitar come in, you can still effortlessly stick with the melody. It doesn't get drowned out in a bunch of chaos. And that sort of character also takes shape in some of the real rockin' parts in songs like the back end of Le Baron Sanglat, for one. There are also some very dramatic sounding, stirring, almost emotionally tinged numbers that make you feel like you're contemplating the battle ahead or something. Le Metamorphosis du Vampire, it's a great example, and La Danse Macabre is kind of like that too. And speaking of Maiden, Eloa La Belle Ange honestly kind of reminds me of something off Dance of Death, with a little Flesh God Apocalypse style symphonic element thrown in. Honestly, it's kind of a fun song. So ultimately for Le Chant Noir, with either of their full lengths, if you are looking to hear something that'll let you conclude that is a damn good album, then look here. And now on to band number 2, another of Valerio's projects, THOKKIAN VORTEX. Now, this is once again black metal, however, it is perhaps more for those in search of something a little bit even more, let's say, riff frequent. Because on many occasions, not entirely, but certainly many, THOKKIAN do just that. They let the riff call the shots with a rockin' sort of form. It's not black and roll, but if you're somebody without an agenda, let's say if you're looking for your listening experience to be Sour Patch Kids instead of some kind of borscht or casserole, you are going to be very pleased pleased with Thokkian Vortex? Did you like when Satyricon would occasionally let loose around Volcano, but not necessarily go as far like in Now Diabolical? Then check out the title track of their first album, Into the Nagual. I mean, this is honestly a headbanging sort of black metal as opposed to Invisible Orange. What's up, Storm Ruler? And I got a feeling these dudes were having a lot of fun on Into the Nagual, because there are so many like unique and cool moments that, for example, come from keyboards that you might not think would show up in black metal. The intro to the Elementals is a great instance of that, because I swear to God, it's like a sort of vaporwavy type of thing before this kind of punkish type beat kicks in. And Shoran Zan Conjure's another moment with a really cool rock type feel. And then there's Evil Sluts of Satan. That is a straight up rocker that I could see somebody like Electric Hellfire Club want to cover. But it's not entirely what you might describe as like riff rock, because the riff won't totally dominate at all times. Like, you still get leads and solos and keyboard inserts built around Valerio's real buzzsaw voice, and like, just like Ancient, Thokkian Vortex is an adventure. And as for the other sort of off-path stuff, that doesn't come wholly from keyboard moments, because take a song like Sam Seth Misbeat. Some of the guitar chords kind of remind me of Dirty Black Summer, Danzig, and it's also kind of slightly southerny down, Trouble, St. Vitus style doom without trying to be. And it's got this really cool drone part in it that sounds like something off Glenn's second Black Aria album, or even Sun O would do. So yeah, man, with their most recent release, Thy Throne Is Mine, feels a little more black and less rock than Nagual. I fucking love Thokkian Vortex and the Chant Noir, dude, and if you like heavy metal, I am positive that you will too. So to Valerio Costa, I'd like to sincerely and heartfeltly thank you, good sir. Thank you and Zell for your masterful work in Ancient and the memory that I'll have forever after hearing you for the first time. And now for your absolutely terrific work in both Le Chant Noir and Thokkian Vortex. I truly hope you lads might be able to revisit your Washington, D.C. area sometime in the future to celebrate Cainian Chronicle. Okay, now on to Miss Raquel's mates. First, from Texas, BLACKTOP MOJO, from their latest album, Pollen. Right out of the gate, you know you're listening to modern day Southern rock. So if the Godfathers and most well-known are Leonard Skinner, then you got a 2024 version of the God and Guns album. It's that sort of tough, no compromising with adding any sort of who knows what other inappropriate style in an attempt to get radio play or something type of straight up rock that was passed to him from an older sibling or parents born in the South. You know, BLACKTOP's very similar to at times Johnson Brothers, if you know them. This is the kind of music you hear when a band's trying to come up the honest and respectable way, playing proudly at a country fair, and you may not know their music yet, but you got enough of a buzz going on to say like, fucking A, man, these guys are good. Now, most of Pollen's pretty feel-good and commercially accessible Southern rock, but you know you're dealing with honest people because there are songs like Please Don't Call and Something's Changed that describe practical situations for the everyday dude or chick that's in the shitter. And they need a little consolation of somebody else's voice that says, listen, I relate. And yeah, maybe the situation sucks, but you're not alone. That song's pretty badass, man. Fucking A. You know what? Yeah, shout out to everybody going through that sort of shit. Keep on, brothers and sisters. Thanks, BLACKTOP, for writing that one. Red Enough's kind of like that, too. I could very easily hear Chris Stapleton writing this song, or having it be a Johnson Brothers track. What's up, Gemmer? As the Light Fades is very Johnny Skinner. Kind of reminds me of the song Bring It On from the 20 album. So yeah, man, ultimately, if you're somebody like me that loves the absolute shit out of Skinner and hasn't deprived themselves of the Johnny era, much like the Tony Martin Black Sabbath era, and you also like Stapleton and the Johnson Brothers, you will be able to get down with BLACKTOP MOJO. But be warned, if you got any sort of cuts or wounds that are still raw and that haven't yet scarred into wisdom, treat some of the more honest songs with caution. Although Born to Lose is kind of a pick your ass up soldier type of song, but other than that, have a good time, man. BLACKTOP MOJO, fucking A. Okay, and for the second Raquel contribution, the latest single from Black Label Society drummer Jeff FABB. It is called Love and War. This is a bit different than what we've heard from him, but before anything else, let me just get the very blatantly obvious thing out of the way first. The chorus, man. Tell me you couldn't hear it like anywhere on osmosis, Ozzy. That's not at all surprising because for one, Ozzy's a very influential artist, and two, as I explained in my last video about Jeff, he's in BLS, and BLS was born through Ozzy, so there's that. But in Love and War, I think Jeff took the opportunity to be a little more difficult or mathematical with his drum pattern. Say for instance something you might expect to hear played by bands like Meshuggah or Gojira, but please don't hold me to that because admittedly I'm not even all that familiar with Meshuggah or Gojira, but I've heard bits and pieces and I don't know, that's my impression. And it's got an overall cold kind of sound. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense using temperature to describe a feeling or mood for a song, but perhaps you'll know what I mean when you hear it. But yeah man, this song definitely got stuck in my head. Obviously, particularly the chorus, which is probably the goal, so big congrats and mission accomplished, Mr. FABB. So okay my friends, that's what the hell I had. I hope you get to check out all this stuff and you find something you love, because why not, right? And if you liked this video, cool man, maybe you can give it a thumbs up. Or if you just like hearing somebody bullshit about heavy metal, then bounce your butt right into that subscribe button and don't let up. We'll see you next time on Concrete Spew, but until then, stay crazy, my friends.